So our top story for this pilot edition of the POAP Report. This past Wednesday, POAP had released new guidelines for event organizers looking to use POAPs to enrich their events. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Now, I am not going to read everything that is here, but it is going to be a good idea for you to become familiar with this document, because there really is a lot of great information that you can find in here. But let's go ahead and sort of talk about it a little bit. So POAP had released these guidelines as a way to provide insight into the POAP curation body, which is the team that approves the POAP. So basically, when you're making a POAP, they're the ones who you're sending your event details to. And this document is meant to help issuers know what they need to do in order to prove they're responsible with the protocol. It also gives them a better understanding of how their petitions are being reviewed, and it also gives best ways for POAPs to be used in communities. Isabel, POAP's Chief Operations Officer, came on the POAP community call on that same day, and she had opened up discussion about the true purpose of these new guidelines. And let's go ahead and listen to what she had to say.
We've introduced these issuer guidelines as, first of all, a way of allowing issuers to kind of get some guidance from the curation body in the process of getting their POAPs submitted and reviewed. Eventually, hopefully, in the process of introducing an onboarding system and things like this for new POAP issuers. But ultimately, the idea is really to inspire some conversation by the community around what POAP is, what POAP is for, how it is that we're all using the protocol, what is and isn't good usage of POAP, and any other POAP-related questions. I think the things with communities, like questions about, who is and isn't a part of the community, who is and isn't part of the conversations, where these conversations happen, and all of those sorts of things are of major concern to us internally, and we're trying to bring some of those discussions out to the public so that we eventually get, a common train of thinking along with the general POAP ecosystem.
So basically what she said there is that what POAP is trying to do right now, they're trying to figure out who all is encompassed within the community of POAP and how can they best serve them. I'm going to go ahead and link the entire conversation in the description so that you can have a listen to the whole thing. It's a non-stop hour of deep discussion about how we form community and people's communication preferences and what we as the POAP community care about. But the main thing that really stuck out to me during this talk was how the POAP community really is everywhere in a sense. So there's many different actors within the POAP community. So you have people who love making events, you have people who love making the art, you have people who love getting POAPs any way that they can. So there's this giant umbrella that encompasses the community, and it's really hard to figure out how to sort of wrangle everyone in or have a shelling point where everybody would actually want to go and congregate at. And right now, POAP has a discourse forum where they want the community discussion to take place, which I'm also going to link down in the description. But honestly, what it's turned into as of late is just a place for people to go, and they send in a support ticket for their POAP petitions being rejected. Now, perhaps that's because the current communication climate that we're in right now doesn't really lend itself towards standalone forums anymore. Back in the day, people would go on internet forums that would be about specific topics. Like, for example, I would go to Bungie.net and I'd talk about Halo 3 all the time, or I'd go on game FAQs and game winners and I would talk about gaming cheat codes and I would talk about walkthroughs and stuff like that. Now what you see are people going to places like information aggregate sites like Reddit, or they would rather stay on places like a Twitter, or even here on YouTube. They want to get their information from YouTube. I'm very much in that realm. But it's really true for Discord at the moment as well in Web3, because I can tell you from personal experience, I mean, hey, even this hour-long conversation, this had happened on POAP's official Discord, so right now in Web3, you see this congregation to Discord as a way to have community. Now, she also talks about, like, whose voice matters in POAP, and that's really an interesting thing, because whose thoughts do you value more? Do you value the people that make the events? Do you value the people who use POAP a lot? How much weight do you give the people who are just trying to get as many POAPs as you can, or as they can, rather? It's very interesting thinking about, like, okay, what is going to make this the best? Who should we listen to? Who should we not listen to? Who gives the most value in this conversation, and how can we talk about it? So, I want to go more in depth on this a little bit later, the guidelines, that is, but when it comes to community, I want to kind of stick to that right now. So, when I think about what makes a good community, I imagine people who are passionate about the subject. I think of people who have a common goal. They have a set of ethics. They have rules that they hold themselves to. They act in good faith towards each other. They have good intentions towards each other. They have a place that they can congregate that's known and accessible. I'm sure there's more things that could be added to this recipe, but I think you get the point that I'm going here. Basically, if you take a lot of these ingredients, rather, you put them together responsibly, you can form a bright and vibrant community that people will want to be a part of. And really, that's the ultimate goal of these guidelines. It's a step forward for fostering healthy communication between not only POAP as the company to its users of their product, but it's also creating a healthy community environment for communication from peer to peer. And with the movement towards Web3 picking up steam, especially as of late, like over the last 2 years or so, being able to figure out how to not fall within the same pitfalls as Web 2 is going to be something that is what we want to form this around. We don't want to go into the same trap that Web 2 got into. But again, let's not end the conversation here. As we go on within the following weeks and we have more shows, I'm excited to talk more in depth about the guidelines specifically, or certain concepts and things that can be brought up from these. But for now, I'm going to take a small break. And when we come back, we're going to be taking a look at eStaker's Sequoia Merge livestream with Daily Gway's Anthony Sassano, and we're also going to take a look at POAP at NFT NYC. So I hope you stick around. So you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for that. If you like what you saw, maybe check out some other content on the channel. If you really like what you see, maybe you should subscribe. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.